Welcome to this explainer. It's actually kind of funny, but some of the most unstoppable, fiercely successful women in any room are very often the quietest ones. Today, we are unpacking a seriously powerful framework for becoming your most unstoppable self, and it's drawn directly from some really fascinating insights on how quiet, smart women truly win. Now, to be clear, this isn't about how flawless your life looks on Instagram or how many frame degrees you have hanging on your wall. It's actually all about the internal choices you make and exactly how you choose to show up for yourself every single day.
So, here is our playbook for today. We're going to be covering 5 crucial pillars: the myth of confidence, action before readiness, independence and clarity, enforcing boundaries, and finally, mastering inner dialogue. Let's dive right in. All right, let's kick things off with Section 1, the myth of confidence, reframing self-belief. Okay, we have all been sold this massive myth, right? This idea that confidence is just some built-in personality trait, like it's a magic wand some lucky people are just born with, and that you have to magically possess it before you can ever be successful. But in reality, confidence is literally just a practiced skill. It's a muscle. See, from a neurological standpoint, your brain is actually designed to keep you safe from discomfort, which is exactly why stepping out of your comfort zone triggers so much doubt. Smart women know that doubt isn't a stop sign, it's just a biological false alarm. Real confidence is built by feeling that fear and acting anyway.
This quote really hits the nail on the head. Confidence doesn't come first, courage does. You absolutely do not need to wait until you feel 100% ready to begin. You simply need the courage to take that very first step. Confidence isn't the prerequisite for action, it's the reward you get for taking bold action.
Which brings us perfectly to Section 2, action before readiness, defeating doubt through momentum.
Let's talk about the F word, failure. Somewhere along the line, we were all taught that failure is this terrible thing to be ashamed of. But smart women treat failure kind of like a scientist treats a flawed experiment. It doesn't mean you aren't good enough, it's just vital data. Every mistake, every rejection, every single time things don't go according to plan, it's literally just information that fuels your growth. Honestly, confident women have failed way more times than they can count, but they use that data to adapt, adjust, and get right back up.
And you can actually hack this internal courage from the outside in too. Shoulders back, chin up, steady eye contact, open gestures. Studies in behavioral psychology actually show that physically embodying these power postures instantly shifts your brain chemistry. It literally lowers stress hormones and makes you feel more powerful. You don't have to feel confident to look confident, and the wild part is when you adopt this body language, your brain starts to actually believe you're the one in control. It's just a highly effective way to defeat doubt through sheer physical momentum.
Moving right along to Section 3, independence and clarity, owning your choices.
If your life is dictated by impulse and a total reliance on others, it's going to be chaotic. A smart woman just operates differently. She's using emotional intelligence to pause, think, and respond with absolute clarity instead of just reacting. And practically speaking, she takes charge of her finances. Look, you don't have to be a billionaire, but you absolutely must know exactly where your money is going. Financial dependence ultimately limits your options, right? Independence is what gives you the real power to choose.
Okay, on to a real game changer. Section 4, enforcing boundaries, protecting your peace. I want you to ask yourself a really honest question right now. Think about it. What are you putting up with that you absolutely shouldn't be? We are so often conditioned to be people pleasers, to just smile and say yes when every fiber of our being means no, usually just to avoid disappointing someone else. But every single time you do that, you are abandoning yourself just to keep other people comfortable.
So how do you know when enough is enough? Well, if you are feeling uneasy, constantly exhausted, taken for granted, or harboring this growing resentment, listen up. These emotions are loud, flashing warning signals. They are clear physical indicators that your limits are being crossed and a boundary absolutely must be established. You literally cannot afford to ignore these signs. It's your mind and body desperately telling you that a change is required.
Because let's face it, a life without boundaries, it basically just leaves you drained and resentful. I mean, unless your ultimate goal in life is to be a highly effective human doormat, something has to give. Stepping into your power and setting boundaries is never about being selfish or trying to control other people. It is the ultimate declaration of self-care and self-respect. It's about protecting your peace, your time, and your energy. And trust me on this, if you don't set your own boundaries, other people will gladly set them for you.
So how do we actually do it? Here is your 3-step playbook.
First, recognize where limits are needed by actually paying attention to your own frustration. Second, communicate those limits clearly and firmly. But the absolute hardest part is step 3. Honestly, the toughest part isn't stating the boundary in the first place, it's holding the line when people inevitably push back. And remember, the people who get the most upset about your new boundaries are exactly the people who were benefiting from you having none at all. You must enforce them without apology. And please, if you take nothing else away today, remember this golden rule. No is a full sentence. You do not owe anyone a lengthy, guilt-ridden explanation or some massive apology for protecting your time, energy, and mental health. A firm, confident no, or even a simple, that doesn't work for me, is more than enough.
Finally, we reach Section 5, Mastering Inner Dialogue, Sustaining the Mindset.
Here's the thing. Your mind believes whatever you tell it repeatedly. Unchecked self-doubt, it's a massive liar. If you let that voice run wild, your brain is going to constantly look for evidence to prove you aren't good enough. You have to actively manage your inner dialogue. When that lying voice whispers that you can't do something, you need to grab the mental megaphone and intentionally replace it with, "Watch me. I am capable and I will figure this out."
Sustaining this kind of unstoppable mindset also requires a real commitment to growth. The absolute smartest women never stop learning. Because the world is constantly evolving, committing to continuous learning without letting your ego block your growth ensures you're always becoming your best self. You stay open, you ask questions, and you adapt.
So, I want to leave you with this final, provocative thought. Are you ready to stop waiting for permission? As we've seen today, confidence isn't something you just sit around and wait for, it's something you actively create through taking action. The power to live on your own terms, to set those firm boundaries, and to command respect isn't something you need to go out and find. It is already right there within you, right now, just waiting for you to take that first courageous step. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer.